Hello.
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 Hello. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. Do you hear me all right?
I do. Yes, I do. I do, and you're definitely going
Oh,
out in the
okay.
stream, so we should be good. Hello, Super Chat Matt. So you've got a you it
This
says
is
here that
Geo Sam.
you call. Oh, sorry, there was some Super Chat Matt in side chat said hello. Sorry, Geosam. This
Oh,
note says that you've got a call about a footprint.
yeah. It was something that I experienced when I was a kid, and also I experienced it three times in my life, and once as a child, once as a. Uh, but yeah. Uh, I don't know, trying to figure out how to begin. Well, I had a friend when I was a kid. We used to hang out together like kids do, and I'd go to his house, he'd come to our house, and we'd just hang out. And there was one time I was over his house and they were painting. They had people there and they were moving furniture and putting up drop cloths, getting ready to paint. And I was in the home and I walked into the dining room and I saw a footprint on the floor in the middle of the dining room. And I said, "Hey, what's that?" They says, "Hey, get out of here, kid. We got to paint the room. We don't want you here. We get out." So I went and I touched it. And I said, "What's that?" And they were like, "Get out." They just didn't want us there. So they chased us out. And I touched it and I got black stuff on my hands. And it was like charcoal because it looked what it looked like was something was burned into the floor on the
Oh,
in that area.
yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first time I had seen the footprint.
Okay.
And I'm calling it a footprint because that's what it looked like. It looked like a foot with a couple of toes on the end of it, and it was burned into the floor. Now, I don't know what that was, and I saw it when I was a kid hanging out with a friend of mine. I must have been 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
And we used to hang out together all the time. I used to go in the house nearly every day, and I hadn't seen it since for many years. I was friends with the guy. I even lived in the house. I lived in the house for 10 years. I lived in the house. I went into the service, came out of the service, and I lived in that house. That was the first place I asked. I says, "Hey, you got rooms? It's a big house. Rent me a room." And they said, "Fine, okay, yeah, we'll rent you a room." So I was living there. And the next time I saw it was when they needed the upstairs bedroom needed the carpet needed to be replaced. So they ripped all the carpet out, and when they ripped the carpet out, the footprint was upstairs. The same footprint was
But
burned into the floor under the rug in the upstairs bedroom.
and where was it? Where was it? Was it downstairs the first time you saw it?
First time it was downstairs in the dining room. Now we went when we found it in the bedroom upstairs in the second floor. We went downstairs immediately to look at the floor in the dining room, and the footprint was not there. Where it should have been, it was gone. Now, there was a table and an area rug. A table and an area rug. It was a huge house, Victorian mansion, so to speak. I lived in a neighborhood that was a historical neighborhood because of the age of the homes, so everything was like preserved. You couldn't touch the homes; they had to be done up in a certain way because of the historical nature of the neighborhood. But that was the second time I saw it was in the bedroom upstairs. Now when we went downstairs to the dining room and lifted up the rug and looked underneath, there was no footprint. Where I had seen it many years prior to seeing it again. So we put the carpet in And that was all there was to it. There was nothing that we could do. We put the carpet in, fine. The woman who was renting the room was happy with it. It was okay. Then I saw it again about, I don't know, 10 years later after that, when we were renovating the front porch. The front porch had a planter on one end of it, like the far right end, I guess it was, if you're standing at the house. And it was leaning, the porch was leaning, and it was in really bad repair. Some of the joists and the support beams needed to be replaced because they were rotten. So the whole porch needed to be just torn down and rebuilt. But we had to get rid of this planter. It was a huge planter. It was about 4 feet by 3 feet. It was a huge planter that had a tree in it. It didn't have anything in it but dirt. And it took 3 of us to move it away and get it off of the porch. We just pushed it off. We broke the edge of the railing. That was all wood because we were going to tear it anyway. And we pushed it over and pushed it off the porch. It broke when it hit the ground. But underneath the planter, guess what we found?
You could say a black foot, aren't you?
A black footprint burned in the wood. Yeah.
Wow.
It was burned in the wood outside on the porch. And that was the 3rd time I had seen it. And that was within easily a 15 to 20 year span of time. I've seen it 3 times. And it had moved each time. I don't live there anymore. This was in New York. When I lived in New York City, in Staten Island. This was a house in Staten Island in the same neighborhood that I lived in. I lived in a big house, too, as a child that was also a historical landmark because of the age of the home. And I never noticed anything strange in my house. But I did notice strange things in that house. Now, I couldn't explain that. And there were other things that happened in this house also that were unexplained. Such as the locks. The locks would break and the screws would unscrew themselves and fall out. You would replace the wood behind the door and behind the locks. You would replace the wood that was holding the locks. Brand new wood, brand new lock, same thing would happen. Now, I lived in this house for 10 years and we could not keep a lock on the front door. There were no locks anywhere on any of the doors that would work because they would all fall off. Now, I can't explain why this is happening to all the locks on the door. I had a lock. I rented a room in this house. I had a lock on the door. I changed the thing 5 times within like a 6-month span. I says, I'm not doing this anymore. So they just put a piece of string through the hole and would pull it open with a piece of string.
Wow. So this is a new one on me. I've never heard of a moving footprint before, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, believe me, I've never heard anyone describe anything like this before, and I can't explain it. And I haven't been back to the house. I know they still live there. But I'm not friends with the people there anymore because I had a rift with the son who was actually a friend and he had some deal with the time I spent there. I was paying his parents to live there and he thinks it was him. It's just, I don't want to even go into that. But yeah, there was, that footprint was a pretty strange thing. Yeah.
So when you say it was burned, so every time you saw it, was it exactly the same shape? Did it have any kind of, if you touched it, would you get like a charcoal on your fingers? Was it definitely burnt, or was it just a black mark?
It was burned. It was definitely burned because you could rub it and you would get charcoal on your hand from the wood. And it was always the same size, the same shape. Yeah, well, I don't know if they have seen it since, because I don't speak to them anymore.
Oh man.
So I have no clue what happened. What happens to that? If it's happening more, if they've noticed it other places, but I don't know because I haven't been in that house in many years. But that's the story.
That's really odd. That's really, really odd. And I don't even know where to go with that. If more than one of you saw it and it moved, the fact that it moved through the house is just really cool. And was and the lot.
Well, it was.
Go on. Sorry.
Well, it was. I didn't think much of it when I first saw it because I was a kid. They told me to get out of the room. I was just being a kid, you know. So I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe somebody had just did that to the floor for whatever reason, or it was an accident. I didn't know. But then when I came back from the service and moved in that place, and we went upstairs to remove that rug, I wasn't even thinking of a footprint. It just never occurred to me to think of that footprint that I saw when I was a child in the home. Because I had went off to the service. I was a grown-up, you know? And I came back to the house, and I was living there, and we went upstairs to rip the carpet up, and there's the footprint. And then I realized, I says, oh, that's the same footprint I saw when they were painting the house many years ago. They were painting so we went down to look, and it was not there. It was not where I had originally seen it.
That's superb. Just from the side chat, Jess Kitten G is asking, what did she ask? She says that trains or heavy traffic can make the screws pop out, shake the screws out. Were you in a particularly high traffic area, or was there a subway underneath you or anything like that?
No, I lived in the suburbs of Staten Island, New York. Actually lived on a piece of land that was built up on a hillside that we needed to climb up about 50 stairs just to get to the front porch, and then climb up about 10 stairs of the porch to get in the front door. And it was a suburb, so it wasn't heavy traffic. So there was no vibrations.
I don't
know how to explain that.
That's really cool. And so when the locks did fall off, would you be able to put the screws back in and refit it, or were the holes mashed on the door? If you wanted to put the same lock back on, would you have to put bigger screws on?
Oh, that was the whole conundrum. It was trying to, the wood behind it sometimes was replaced. Like on the door where I was living, the wood wasn't replaced. It was just filled in with wood filler, and then the screws were re-screwed in. But that never held. And the locks that I bought were just a waste of money because they kept getting destroyed in one way or another, which I couldn't explain. All the doors were like that. None of the doors had working locks or handles. The handles didn't work. We had to stick screws, and other than handles and doorknobs, there was no doorknobs on any of the doors. Our front door was basically wide open to the world, and I lived in this house for nearly 10 years.
That's crazy.
With no lock. I didn't need a key. I didn't need a key to get in. I had no keys to my own room, and I put locks on the doors, but they just wouldn't stay on. I couldn't get them to stay on, and they would just slowly undo and become broken. Wow. And every door in the house was like that. Every door in the house suffered from that problem.
That's amazing.
I don't know. It could have been. I don't know. There's probably an explanation like this, some physical explanation for why. I don't know what it is because I haven't. But that was just a tertiary kind of thing. It wasn't really the main thing that I called to talk about, but because I called to talk about the footprint. But that was just the secondary thing that went on in the house. You got a bonus.
the whole thing is just superb. I've never heard of a footprint moving before. I've heard of people claiming that footprints have been left or hearing noises. Woden Toad has called in and talked about ghostly footsteps. But to actually see and was it a very definite footprint shape, or could it have been a footprint?
Yeah, it was definitely a footprint shape because you could see where there would have been an arch, but it wasn't burned in enough because it was an arch. You know what I mean? So it looked like a foot. It looked like a foot with somebody with an arch and 5 toes, but it was burned into the floor. It looked like somebody took one of those, those gas pedals that looks like a foot?
Yes.
You ever see that? It's a metal gas pedal that looks like a foot. Yeah, they took that, put it on an iron rod, and heated it up and stamped it on the wood floor. That's what it looks like it was. Now, how you could do that in a home where people are living and not have anyone notice, I don't know.
Now,
if it was a joke, like if it was a joke, then I don't know who was doing it because no one fessed up to it and no one had a clue what it was. So if they were playing a joke, they really played a joke forever. It was like they just continued this joke and it's still going on today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that. I never really thought much of it. To tell you the truth, it wasn't something that sticks in the back of my mind. I go, oh, that footprint, I didn't give a shit. I still don't even care today. I don't care because I can't explain it and I'm not there anymore. But believe me, I'm not going to go to this house ever again. I'm pretty sure of that. But if I did have a chance, I would want to ask about the footprint. I would ask them about the footprint and they would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh man.
I just don't know,
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
But that's the only, these things don't happen to me all the time. These are like the thing with the lights I called the last time and I told you about the lights I saw. That's the first time I've ever seen lights in the sky. I'm not prone to this kind of stuff. I've never seen anomalies like that in my life. I've never seen anything that I could say was ghostly or paranormal. See, I don't even say this is paranormal. It's just strange. I don't jump to conclusions. As soon as I find something I can't explain, I don't jump to unwarranted conclusions. I can't make the leap. And I've said that before, even with the lights.
Yes.
I can't justify the leap in my own mind. So I'm looking for I'm looking for the natural explanation first. And I can't come up with one. And that's the way it is. So I don't know what to do with that. But what do you do with that kind of information? You going to hold on to it? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it would bug me. I think if it happened, if once I would probably let it go. Twice or 3 times, I think it would bug me, and I would have to know.
Yeah, but you see, if it had happened like one time after another, no, but it took many years. I mean, I was there as a kid and left and went to the service and I was doing my life. I wasn't thinking about no footprint. And then when I came home, I went back to my old childhood home and I said, oh, I can't live here because this is not for me. I can't live here at home with my parents. I'm a grown man. So I decided to go and ask my friend for a place to live. And he said, sure. They said, sure. So I started living there. I didn't live there thinking, oh, I'm going to see the footprint again. No, I went there without even, there was no thought of any footprint. I needed a place to live. That's why I moved in there.
Oh, my goodness.
I wish I could explain it. I mean, even even like if I could just somehow figure out some rational way to explain that away, that would be fine. But I can't. I can't find. I could sit here and rack my brain all day long, and I still won't come up with a rational answer. It's all just ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense. You know?
But then you've got no way to go back and ask those questions, have you? You can't really go back and say, well, was it really burnt, or
I can't.
Did it smell, or
I can't go back.
You're relying on memory and things like that. But it's still really odd. I don't know.
The other thing, huh?
I was going to say I don't know how I'd feel if that happened to me. I think that would drive me nuts.
Think so?
I would probably be in a car right now driving to the house to ask if it was still there, and I would probably be arrested for harassment or something.
Well, you see, it's something that happened. It happened 3 times, but over the span of like 20 years, more than 20 years. So it wasn't something that happened all the time, because the footprint would hide itself. It would hide itself.
I just love the idea of like this kind of pesky footprint just hiding itself around the house, waiting to be found. That's really cool.
Yeah, but if it hides itself underneath a rug, how the hell are you going to find it? It was a wall-to-wall carpeting. Wall-to-wall carpeting. How the hell do you burn a footprint underneath the carpet? I don't know. How do you do that?
I don't know. I can feel my brain. Can feel my brain about to work over.
And then, but the one on the porch outside. How does it get outside underneath a planter that weighs about 300 pounds? You know, I don't know how much that is in stone, but you know, 300 pounds is a lot of weight.
It is a lot of weight. Yeah, it is a lot of weight. I guess I'd say it was about 20 stone, 22 stone, something like that. So I'm sure somebody will correct me in the side chat. It's heavy. It would be heavy. I wouldn't be able to lift it.
Oh, to stone is 21 pounds. 21 stone.
21 stone, yeah.
300 pounds, 21.4286 stone.
Yep, so, I wouldn't be able to lift it.
How would a footprint get underneath that? I don't know. And the planter was on the porch ever since I knew the house was there. That planter had been on the porch. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
I don't know. I don't know either. But that is so many questions that you can't answer.
Strange,
Damn
right?
it! Damn it!
Yeah, there's so many questions, but I don't have the answers. And you know,
goodness me.
I've called about this story before on another talk show. Spoke to them about it. They didn't know what it was. Of course, I mean, how could you just say, "Yeah, I know what that is"? No. It's like, what could that possibly be? What could that be?
I just don't know. I think that is quite possibly the best call that we've had to the show so far, because there's no immediate answer for what that is. I like that. That's really cool.
You know, what are we going to say? What are we going to jump? We're going to jump to conclusions and say it's paranormal.
I mean,
or supernatural.
Some people might, but it wouldn't be the right way to go about it. Yeah.
No, of course not.
Until it was proven either way.
That was right, but that was the footprint story.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you could go on Google. I could go on Google Maps and show you a picture of the house. It's not a very pretty house, but it's not worth it, I guess.
It might not be nice to the people that live in it currently to be saying that they've got a footprint in the house either online. They might not appreciate it.
No, I don't. And believe me, I don't want to get involved with them. They've been out of my life for many years. That's the way I'd like it to stay.
Awesome.
You know, I'd like it to remain that way.
That's superb. Thank you so much for sharing that one with us, Gio. I do have somebody else who's just called in.
Well, you're welcome.
About a ghost, but that anytime you want to call in, go for it.
Well, good, because those are the only two stories that I have. So you got everything that I can give you.
Oh,
all right. You got it all.
I can see that. I know Jess. If you can see the side chat, Jessie Kitten G is going to be upset because she says she likes your stories.